Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome to the first ever episode of this new series that I'm going to be calling Let's Train. So, what is Let's Train, Promise? Tell us a little bit about it. What do you actually do? What am I going to be learning from this? Am I going to be learning anything, or is this such a waste of time that I'm going to be watching this video? Well, I'm going to tell you guys right now that this is going to be a pretty high educational lesson for today, at least. Next week's going to be another replay. It's going to be a whole nother thing. But today it's going to be a Zerg versus Protoss. And this is actually going to be a replay where his opponent, as you guys can see in the overlay, Roxas Titan, a European, I think he's Russian, a Russian Protoss player, very, very good. Kind of went a little bit MIA as of recently in StarCraft 2. Not really too sure if he's back to school or just doing other real-life stuff. But this is going to be a focus on ZVP. We're going to be looking specifically at the vision of Snute in this game. It is going to be on the map Belshir Vestige, which is, of course, in UMAP, on the ladder pool. And how this series works is basically I'm looking specifically at one player's vision. I'm going to be looking to see what he's scouting, what his build orders are, what his timings are, and how he reacts to all of the scouting information he's getting from his opponent. So, Snute, again, a very, very good player. Of course, part of Team Liquid. Before that, he was on the team Gamers League. Not a huge name, but definitely, you know, they were supporting him, sending him to events, and really making a name for himself. So, ZVP, excuse me. Roxas Titan, of course, he's going to be the red Protoss here in the bottom right. Of course, Snute has not scouted yet, but this is a one-player map. You're spawned bottom right, top left. Just a little bit of a hint there for any noobs out there. Not really too sure how this map is designed or where the spawn positions are. But Roxas Titan has a tendency to be very, very all-in-ish. Now, he can macro, he can take a third expansion, he can go into like maybe a 3-base Colossus timing, which is pretty common in Heart of the Swarm right now with a few Void Rays. Very, very powerful push. Extremely difficult for Zerg players to defend. But Snute has probably played against Titan many, many, many times on the European ladder in Wings of Liberty. Titan is known for very strong 2-base plays. +1 7-gate Zealot is pretty common in PvZ off of 2-base. An Immortal Sentry all-in is still very, very strong in Heart of the Swarm. Put a Mothership Core with that, use a Time Warp ability, that attack becomes so much more stronger. So we'll see, you know, what exactly Titan's going to be doing, but we're looking at Snute's vision, so let's not get ahead of ourselves and kind of, you know, look at what the other guy's doing. So far, Snute is going for a pretty common opening. It looks like he opened up 14 pool, followed by this 15 hatchery. Maybe it was a 16 hatchery. You can get away a little bit with, you know, squeezing in an extra drone even on the map like this. But look, looks like Titan is going for a very quick, aggressive build. I'm going to pause the replay really quickly because I want to talk a little bit about this. Titan already has a Stalker. No way is he going to have a Stalker by 4 minutes and 45 seconds if he was going for a Forge Expand or a Nexus First or anything like that. Now, Snute has finally scouted. He's going to go ahead and poke it in Overlord, go ahead and confirm that there's a natural expansion, but this is a late Nexus, so no way Titan is going for a Nexus First or a Forge Expand, as I mentioned before. He is going for something that a lot of Protoss players have been doing in Heart of the Swarm, is the Gateway Expand opening. It allows you to get a quicker Warp Gate. It allows you to go ahead and possibly follow it up with you know, some sort of a 2-base pressure, maybe even a 2-base all-in. Just to kind of keep the Zerg player on their tippy toes. But this is just really good scouting information from Snute. He's going to know it's there. He's going to immediately, I'm going to pause once again, even though we have some pressure at the natural with these two Stalkers. Look at the production tab for Snute. He's going directly into speed. He grabbed some gas, obviously, so he can get some speed. This is a brilliant reaction from Snute to go ahead and do this. Reason being is Titan can follow it up with a very strong 2-base push. If you don't have Speedlings, if you don't have Roaches, you can just straight up die. And if Titan just commits to +1 Zealots and his opponent has no speed, no units on the map, he is just going to die. So just something I want to point out very, very quickly from Snute. Really cool to see him going into speed. And he's actually going to have 3 Queens to go ahead and defend this. So this is going to be plenty of defense from Snute. Even if he feels a little bit worried, there's like a proxy pylon somewhere on the map, like in this location or something, which we have no idea where it is. He's definitely going to want to make some Lings or some Roaches. But this pressure from Titan is actually, Very, very annoying. Snute is not really too sure what's coming behind this. Is this an all-in with a proxy pylon? Is this just a little bit of pressure? Is he taking a third? Is he going Stargate? He does not know, but Snute's defending really nicely. Going to throw down a nice little transfuse there. So pretty good defense so far from our Zerg player. There is a Roach Horn in the production tab. Again, a really, really good choice from Snute in case his opponent really commits to Zealots. He wants to have some Roaches and some Links to just be 100% sure that he can defend an attack like this. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the replay just a little bit because not much is going on right now. Looks like Snute's going to go ahead and produce 8 Roaches, thinking there might be an attack coming on its way. He has not scouted just yet. He's not sent in this Overlord towards the right side. He's not really scouted for gases. But I'm going to pause once again. This is, again, a really crucial point in this game. Snute has the Overlord at the natural. He would know if his opponent's going for a third expansion or is teching to robotics or into Stargate. We can see the production tab. It's robotics, so I guess we're a little bit cheating here. But if Titan was grabbing these gases, normally you would get him at around the 6:15 to 6:30 minute mark. 6:15 is a little bit earlier. 6:30 is a little bit more standard if you're not committing to a very strong 2-base play and you're really teching rather aggressively. He's going to see a 7:30 minute gas. That is pretty damn late, and he can still assume that this is going to be some sort of a 2-base timing. This robotics facility might tell us that it's going to be an Immortal Sentry all-in. Now we're going to see Snute go ahead and start to pressure a little bit at the natural expansion of his opponent. He can pick off this Forge. That would be huge, and that's exactly what he's doing. He does not want +1 to finish. I'm going to pause once again. +1 makes whatever push a Protoss is going to do so much stronger. Pretty common sense, pretty self-explanatory. Same exact thing for all the other races. The more upgrades you have, the more stronger your push is going to be and the amount of DPS it's going to do. If he can pick off this +1 and Titan still goes for the push, it's not going to be as much stronger as it would be if he had the upgrade. Duh, right? Like, what the hell am I saying? But this is actually just this is Snute being a very smart player. He's not focusing down the pylon. He's not focusing down any gateways. He wants to kill this Forge, and he gets it. This is a huge win for Snute. And upon scouting an upgrade coming out from the Forge, he knows that it's not like a Stargate. Or else, if you're going to go for Stargate, you're going to be going Stargate. Then you want to be starting your upgrades a little bit later so you can get Void Race, Phoenix, Oracles, whatever you decide to go for. So Snute's going to take a third. Pretty well-timed third. Doesn't really want to take a very greedy third against a Gateway Expand. It can be rather risky if your opponent, gets a huge amount of warpins at that third expansion. Mothership Core just kind of marching its way towards a natural. Upgrades for Snute. He's getting his Glial Reconstitution, getting his Carapace. Good choice to go Carapace. It allows your defenses to be a lot stronger. And Titan is going into an Immortal and going into a Colossus. So this can be an expansion, or this can be an all-in, and the Mothership Core actually gets away. So Snute, so close to killing that Mothership Core, would have been a very, very good pick-off if he was able to do that. Of course, Mothership Cores are like sentries. You want to keep them alive as much as possible to go ahead and gather up the energy. Alright, more Roaches in the production tab. I want to look at the economy so far. 56 drones to 49 probes. And I'm going to pause once again as we look at these numbers. 56 drones to 49 probes. 12 Roaches, 3 Lings, 2 Immortals, 4 Stalkers, 7 Sentries. So, just looking at the production tab, you would say that the army of Titan is a lot stronger compared to what Snute currently has. But Snute is, let's look at the saturation. Pretty well saturated in the main base. Pretty well saturated at the natural. And the third, not the best saturation. I mean, he's basically saturated pretty comfortably on 3 base. So, knowing Titan's style, which he probably does, he's played him many, many times on the ladder, he is just making Roaches and Links. He has not seen a third expansion. Just as I say that, Snute's actually trying to sneak in an Overlord at the third to see if his opponent is taking a third base. If he was, it would usually be around the 9:30. 9:30 is probably pretty late. Usually be around the 9-minute mark. He's going to see a Zealot. Of course, the Zealot's there from Titan. If there's a scouting Link, he would want to kill it. Does not really want to make the 2-base all-in very obvious. And I'm going to pause again. There we go. Boom. Just like that. Third expansion. We're seeing an Immortal, or actually 2 Immortals, a bunch of Sentries, some Stalkers. Snute knew that there's some sort of an all-in coming. No third. Very late gases. Killing the +1 doesn't really matter. Titan, if he's committing from the beginning of the game to go for a 2-base all-in, he's just going to do it, man. He does not care. So, Here comes the attack. Snute knew it was coming, made roaches, made lings, has more units than his opponent. 22 roaches, 22 lings. Pretty good force fields here by Titan. We'll be able to go ahead and negate away these roaches and zerglings. And look at what Snute's doing. This is so good. This is very, very smart. This is a sign of a player that has a lot of experience and very, very intelligent when it comes to defending these 2-base Protoss all-ins. So, ZVP, right? You would want to have an extra base over your opponent. That's kind of how Zerg economy works. If it's 2-base versus 2-base against a Protoss, you're not in the best position. But Snute knows the way he can defend this is what he's doing now. Number one, he sacks the 3rd expansion. He knows that, hey, he might have more units than me. I'm probably not going to be able to defend it. I might be able to defend it, but that's a huge risk that I'm taking, that if I actually, if I keep the 3rd alive but I lose my units, I'm just going to lose the game, because if you don't have units, there's no way you can defend a push like this. So he's going to go for a little bit of, I guess, a flank maneuver with the lings and the roaches. That is a lot of units from Snute. And Titan, he's just going to go for it. There's no way he can, Protoss players do not set up flanks, guys. That's just not how it works. Snute is the Zerg player. He knows he has enough units. Titan, he recalled. Okay, that's great. That's dandy. Okay, he recalled. That's, good for him. But the problem here is Snute has so many more units compared to his opponent. Has a crazy amount of roaches and zerglings. We're going to have this Overlord get killed at the 3rd expansion of his opponent. So many lings and roaches. Now we're going to see the Colossus come out. I'm going to pause. I want to see the reaction of Snute. Okay, so he's actually just on top of it. He knew that that was a pretty late 2-base all-in. If it's an Immortal Sentry, you would expect it to come around it would usually be moving out around the 9:30 minute mark. But there's a Spire already in position for Snute. He knew there's a possibility of a Colossus. He's on top of it. He can easily just transition into Corruptors to go ahead and deal with this Colossus. But back to the replay, it looks like Snute now going to make his way towards a natural expansion. Colossus is going to be there. Titan does not have a lot of units. He lost the bulk amount of his army, and mainly sentries at that 3rd base of Snute. But Snute's just retaking the 3rd, continuing to just rally units. A 2-base all-in, if it does not work for Protoss, you are in a terrible position. You cannot take a 3rd behind it. You're not going to have the economy to go ahead and make more units, really. You might be able to, but for a very limited time. Snute's going to pick up the Colossus. So now, just supply count kind of tells the tale. 98 supply to 61. Snute's just kind of going back into drones. I'm a little bit interested to know, maybe... Okay, so he's going back into drones. Right now he has 57, so he was around the 46-minute mark before he made a few extra drones. So I think what Snute's doing now is he knows he basically has the game won. He's keeping the Protoss on 2-base. He even has the creep at the 3rd expansion, so he's pretty confident that he has this game won. He knows there's Colossus. He can just make Corruptors to go ahead and finish it up. So he's just going back into this kind of, okay, I'm having the game won, but let me just play safer. Let me saturate my 3rd, make sure I have a pretty good economy to go ahead and non-stop produce roaches, zerglings, and Corruptors. He has pretty good upgrades. Of course, Titan's +1 is a little bit later. He's getting his armor. But it's honestly a little bit too late here for Titan. Lings are in the main base. Titan's going to warp in some Zealots. 38 supply to 82 supply. More upgrades in the production tab for Snute. Titan is in a terrible position. Snute basically has this game won. He can just make roaches and lings and just go for the kill, but he's deciding to go back directly into drone production. He's even taken a 4th. So, economic advantage in the favor of Snute. Upgrades in the favor of Snute. Great creep spread so far. Really kind of pacing out this game. Really good scouting information to be able to spot these gases. To know his opponent doesn't have a 3rd. Still does not have a 3rd, obviously, because he cannot just go over there and make a Nexus without having any units. And Mutalisk. Okay. I'm going to pause once again. This is actually kind of interesting. I would have predicted Snute's going to be going into Corruptors. But he's going into Mutalisk. Now, Titan... He is on robotics facility tech. He cannot, there's no way he can make a Twilight Council and go for Blink or go for Storm or make a Phoenix transition or anything crazy like this off of 2-base 15 minutes almost into the game. Snute knows that his opponent's committing heavily into robotics. What can it be? It can be Immortals, it can be Colossus. But this Mutalisk transition all of a sudden is going to catch Titan with his pants down. 2 Stalkers against 14 Mutalisks that are going to finish. No way is Titan going to be able to defend this. So this is, again, kind of two options you have at this point. You can go Mutas, do a little bit of a transition, or you can go into just a Roach Ling Corruptor and straight up kill your opponent. But honestly, at this point, you can just make Roaches and Lings. You can probably just make Lings and kill his opponent. Now, Titan, I don't think he has scouted this yet. Mutalisks are now going to be on the map right now for Snute. How many does he have? 14. He's up to 75 drones, so great economy so far from Snute. There's the Observer. Going to see it. Titan knows it's Mutalisks, and he's not in the best position at all. I mean, 2 Stalkers. GG. Okay, so Titan knows that, okay, you're making a Mutalisk transition. I have maybe 4 Stalkers. That's exactly what he has. There's no way I can defend this. There's absolutely no way. He's on 4 base. It's not going to happen. So this was kind of a little bit of a new tutorial series that I'm going to be doing every single week. It's going to be called Let's Train. This is going to be week number 1. If you guys like this, please leave a comment in the chat, or not in the chat, in the actual comment section on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll do some more replays in the future. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed. Stay safe, good luck, and have fun.